Hey guys, what's up? Um, it's what day is it? I think it's February 4th, or now 5th because it's 12 o'clock. But I wanted to touch on this topic real quick about exercising, and I'm seeing a lot of it in gyms and different things. And I know there's a few people that I talk to, regularly that are making a pretty good switch. But the thing is, they're going after exercising in a way that it's not necessarily going to be beneficial. Reason why you see people, they eat right, they exercise all the time, but at the same time, they're not losing anything. Well, there's reasons for that. We talked about the blood sugar level a lot in that last video. And basically, if your blood sugar levels are off, you're going to, spike everything, and it's going to store as fat. If the blood sugar gets low, same thing. So your nutrition is extremely important, especially when it comes down to exercising, because you have to fuel the body properly in order to do these certain exercises. And it's basically broken down into three systems of energy that our body produces and the types of food that it uses for its energy. There's two systems that are anaerobic. And anaerobic means that it's fueling off of the body, the cells, the food that we feed our body. That's what it uses to produce the energy. And then the third system is aerobic, which we most know. And that is basically when the system is using oxygen, breathing, usually longer distances and everything. And each one of these systems has a different level of fuel we need. So I'll start with the first one, which is called, just use the abbreviations because the words are crazy. It's called the ATP-CP system, the phosphate system. And basically what that system is based off of is like guys that are sprinting or powerlifting or something that's just massive amounts of explosions, a lot of high energy. It uses the creatine phosphate to fuel that, which is carbs, the main fuel. And it needs the carbs because carbs burn up really fast and it turns into sugar immediately. And when you're doing something so explosive, it needs something that's going to go right away. Like we were talking about crumbling up a carb or a flake, it crumbles real fast. And that's what the body needs at that time. It needs to burn immediately. If it was a big piece of fat, it's not going to cut it. So that system is usually designed to go in spurts of like 1 to 10 seconds. So anything you're doing, sprint, powerlifting, max rep, that's what that system is drawing. So if you're going to be doing a workout, prepping for that, you need to go in there full of the carbs. You need them. Otherwise, if you don't have it, the body's going to start to burn and eat at another system or draw from a protein or a fat, and all it's going to do at that point is think it's surviving, and it will end up reserving and storing everything as fat. Problem number one, working out in high intensity, or you'll see people on a treadmill running because they want to sweat. And like they say, you'll lose weight, but what you're losing is muscle, or you're losing muscle mass. And if you lose muscle mass, it's going to be taken over by fat. Also, all this sweat you're trying to get is you're forcing the excretion that the body uses in the cells to make everything regulate. So you don't want to force that type of a sweat. You want that sweat to be done the proper way. So yeah, that system, ATP-CP, is all based off of carbs. And it's short bursts, 1 to 10 seconds, and it needs to be replenished constantly. Every time you do it, you stop, the body is replenishing. The next one is the glycolysis, or the glycolytic cycle. And what that means is it starts to break up the carbs, and it breaks down the carbs into longer stretches of energy. So you're looking at exercises that are like 10 seconds to 3 minutes. Maybe you're doing like 400-meter, or, something that has like more reps into it. It starts to break the glucose down and stretches it out a little bit longer. So you introduce proteins that starts to kick into the system because it's longer periods. You need something that's going to burn, and it's going to be burning the carbs, but yet you're going longer. So carbs will go so fast, it needs to incorporate something else, like the proteins. So you need to have the proper proteins going if you're going to be doing exercises that are longer stretched. What happens in that cycle also is that you have two things that happen. You either have enough fuel in the carbs and proteins, and if you do, then the body recognizes it and says, okay, I can do this with ease, and you're probably stretching the distance, so you start to get into aerobic. Carbs come into its final stages of breaking it all down, and it starts to turn into, okay, we're good, now we go into using the oxygen. The other thing that'll happen is if you're not fueled properly and don't have enough of it, your body starts to lactate, which creates hydrogen ions, which is lactic acid. And in that second phase, the glycolytic phase, it's going to shut you down because you don't have enough fuel. You can't just eat a banana and think you're going to be fine when you work out. So if that's the case, not enough fuel, lactic acid buildup, or the burn, you'll start feeling you'll burn out real easy. And that's a classic example. You don't have enough fuel and all that stuff. So if you keep going, once again, your body turns into survival, starts drawing everywhere, and you're setting yourself up for fat storage. And of course, the third one is aerobic. Now, once you get past that point, you're good, you're fueled, the body starts to use oxygen. And you're talking now for longer stretches, like, 20 minutes, whatever. In order for aerobic exercise to be effective, here's another thing. You got percentages. 60 to 70% is like fat burn. 70 to 80%-ish. I mean, they vary, with weight and all that stuff, but just general. 70 to 80 is aerobic. And 80 and 90, you're starting to get into that anaerobic again. So you also have to consider what zones you're wanting to be exercising in. If you're going for a fat burn, you need to be at 60 to 70%, but that's also where the heart rate monitor kicks in, because you want to make sure you're monitoring your heart rate. If you're too much, if you're pushing, a lot of people want to get that sweat again, you're pushing your heart so fast, you're overworking your heart, overworking your systems, and you're starting to push into different levels of fuel that you might not be ready for. So it ends up shutting you down, and it puts your body in survival mode. So no matter how much you're sweating, it's just eating up your muscle fiber, your muscles. And, as soon as you start to replenish it, it's going to go immediately to fat because it doesn't want to go through whatever it just went through again. So, but yeah, if you have enough energy, when you get to aerobic, you have to sustain that for about 40 minutes at fat burn in order for it to be effective. If you want to do a shorter workout, you go into aerobic, which is 70 to 80% energy, and you can do that a little less because you don't want to overdo it. And then if you want to go for it, you're doing high-end athletic training, which means you're going to be doing 90%, but you're going to be doing like less time. So you're just hitting it. And each one of those means you need to have the proper fuel. If you don't have it, and the oxygen, what the oxygen system or the oxidation system, aerobic, that is what burns fuels off of fat, because it's so thick that it can eat it slowly, and it needs it because you're going for long distances. If you burned it up real quick, you wouldn't be able to sustain a long distance. So fat really kicks in when you're trying to do aerobic exercise, which is why it's so recommended for people. But you got to make sure you target heart rate it to keep it right, and you want to make sure that you're doing it for the proper distance, and one of the last things I just saw. Let me see if I can pull down and find it real quick. You want to make sure that you fuel. I can't find it, but let me see if I can remember. You want to fuel your body about 15 to 20 minutes after exercise, because what did it say? I just posted this up. Um, what did it say? I'm sorry, guys. I just posted this real new information, but basically, you want to fuel your body with the carbs afterwards, because it makes insulin kick in and replenish all the glucose that was lost, so it sets you up so that you can be prepared to work out again. You don't want to do it too, right afterwards, because you have those 5 hormones. That's what it was. It was 5 hormones that fight against insulin. So if you fuel yourself right after a workout, those hormones are still in there boxing, and it won't allow it to happen. But if you wait, it allows it to replenish and set your body back up again so that you can work out later. The other thing is, always eat, when you're eating carbs, always eat a protein, because the protein will help it last longer in your stomach. The glucose won't go so quickly. Not after exercise, but in general. Okay, like I said, I just wanted to give a quick overview of that. It's long-winded again, but this stuff is so complicated. But then again, it makes a lot of sense. Whatever you need the nutrition to fuel the body, just like a car. You got to have gas. If you want to step on it, you got to have plenty of fuel, or it won't go. You don't have gas, you're not going to go. And either one of those is going to create the fat. So you want to be right in the middle, fueled up properly, so that you have the energy to do whatever you're going to do. And that's how you burn it. Without it, you're going to work your butt off, and you're going to see yourself not going anywhere. Or you're going to be eating whatever healthy, and you're not going anywhere. And I'm going to get into body composition and all that later with, checking out body fat percentage instead of weight, because that's going to mess people's heads up. You're going to think, I'm not losing weight, but you really want to check out how much body fat you're losing. And that's why they say measure it with measure yourself. Take measure and get your sizes, your arms, all that. And so, all right. Hopefully that's helpful. Sorry for being long-winded. I talk a lot. Sorry.